Hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Mary, and today's video is going to be my Sorry Picks, my TBR for the month of January 2022. So if you've never been on my channel before, or if you've never come across this game, essentially what I do every single month to pick my TBR is I use the board game Sorry, and I go around the board landing on different prompts. The way I decide how many books I'm going to read is the first card I draw will tell me a number, and that's the number of books that I'm going to read. If I pull a Sorry, I have to add an additional book. And I've actually added a few new prompts this year, which I think will be really fun. And I have gone ahead and added a giveaway slash punishment slash rewards jar. Essentially the idea behind this is every time I make it to a home space, I start over the game, but otherwise there was no real incentive for me to do that. So I was kind of just going around and around and around the game. And I want to incentivize doing that because it helps me pick different prompts. I don't know if this is making a lot of sense, but essentially what I'm going to do is in this cup behind me, my Montreal mug, I don't even know if you can tell that that's what it is, I am going to write down prompts or rewards or punishments or giveaways or things like that, and I'm going to put those on those pieces of paper, stick them in this cup, and that is going to be what I draw from every single time that I complete a game, if that makes sense. Hopefully I will do that at some point during this year and you will see what I mean by that. That's my idea. So if you have any reward ideas or ideas for punishments, let me know in the comments down below. I don't do a punishment based on not finishing books from my previous TBR. Let me know if you think that I should do that, because I'm also toying with doing that instead of putting punishments in there so that it's just rewards for me and giveaways for you, if that makes sense. I got the giveaways idea because I think it's Shanice who does TBR bingo, and every time she gets a bingo, she does a giveaway on her channel, and I think that'd be a really fun way to get you guys involved in my TBR game. I've been doing this TBR game for almost 2 years now, so I just need something to spice it up a little bit, and I've been playing with it around anyways. So now that that really long introduction is out of the way and I've explained the rules, I'm just going to go ahead and get into the first card pick and let you know how many books I'm going to be reading in the month of January. I'm starting this round off in the start because it is a new year, and I'm also starting it off with green because green is my favorite color. So without further ado, let's figure out how many books I'm going to be trying to read in January 2022. 11. And the first card is Move Forward 5, which is to read a romance. So I'm going to be reading 11 books this month, unless I get a Sorry. Hopefully I don't. It's actually not that bad of a month to get 11 books in some ways because I am only working part-time and I'm not in school until the 18th. So I have some time where I'm just going to have a bunch of free time, I guess. I'm going to have more free time than I'm going to have probably all year during the beginning of January, which is very exciting for me. But also I've been kind of in a reading slump and I've not really been in the mood to read. So we'll see if I make it to all 11 books. Hopefully I do. And the first prompt that I landed on was romance. And so for this one, I'm going to be reading What If It's Us by Becky Albertelli and Adam Silvera. And this is a YA queer contemporary romance. I think it's YA. I read the description and it kind of sounds like it only really would make sense if they were adults or college aged, but it's described as young adult, so we'll see. But it is about two boys, Arthur and Ben, and Arthur, I believe, is doing a summer in New York City. I don't really know why. And Ben has just broken up with a boyfriend. I don't know how long term it is, but he's mailing a box of stuff to his boyfriend at the post office, and he runs into Arthur, and they have a meet cute there, and then it sort of follows their relationship, I believe. I don't know much more about it than that. I do know that it has a sequel that came out, I believe, in 2021, which is several years after the original book came out. I think What If It's Us came out in 2017 or 2018. So I'm really excited to read that one. I've read one other thing by Adam Silvera and I really enjoyed it, but I have heard mixed reviews from BookTube generally on Adam Silvera. Some people really love everything that he does and other people really hate his writing style. I think it works for me because I did enjoy They Both Die at the End. That was a really good book that I read in 2020. So I'm very curious to see how I'm going to feel about this one. Second card, Move Forward 7, or split the moves between two pawns. I'm just going to go ahead and move forward 7 because I don't have 2 pawns. Random letter generator. The next prompt that I landed on I'm really excited about, and it is actually a random letter generator, and this is one of the new prompts that I have this year. So I'm going to pull up a random letter generator on my computer. I forgot when I was doing this that I film on my phone, so I'm going to show you my computer screen so that you can see what I got. So I'm using randomgenerator.com with letters from A to Z, and I'm just going to push generate random letter, and I got T. Ooh, T. For this one, I'm just going to pick a book, hopefully on my shelves, that starts with the letter T. I'm not planning on including the word the, because I feel like that's a cop-out, but we'll see what I can come up with, barring that.
Eventually.
Okay, so that took a little bit longer than I expected it to, but I did find a book that didn't start with the, or like, whatever. A book that starts with T, but the T was not for the word the, if that makes sense. A lot of my books start with the word the, apparently. So what I did find is a book that I have on my Kindle, which is called Today Will Be Different by Maria Semple. I actually read another book by this author earlier this year, and I thought it was just okay. It was Where'd You Go, Bernadette? I wasn't super thrilled with that book, but I also think I was looking for a mystery, and it's not a mystery, it's just a contemporary. So this is also just a contemporary, but it follows one day in this woman Eleanor's life, and I think it's just a day that sort of things go awry for her. I don't know a ton about it. I wasn't even really on my radar. I share a Kindle Unlimited account with my mom and my sister, so we all have all of our books on there. But since I own this one, I won't have to buy it, and I'll be able to read it, and I think my mom and or my sister have already read it, so I'm very curious to see if I will enjoy that one. Move forward 7 again. Historical fiction. The third prompt that I landed on was a historical fiction, and for this I'm going to be reading The Angel's Game by Carlos Ruiz Zafón, which is the second in his Cemetery of Lost Books series. I don't think these are direct sequels. I think they're just set in the same universe, which is Barcelona in the 1940s, I think, is when it is. But it's a similar premise where it's an author who writes dark Gothic stories and then sort of an obsession, I believe. I don't know a ton about what this is about. I didn't know a ton about what the first one was about, but I did really enjoy my read of it. And I bought this one when I saw it at probably a Goodwill or something. So I'm very excited to continue on in this series, and I think it's one that I'm going to enjoy. Move forward 8. Sci-fi. The fourth prompt that I landed on was to read a science fiction, and for this I'm going to be reading Una Out of Order by Margarita Montemor, which I got out of a little free library during a vlog, so I will post that vlog somewhere for you. But this book is about a woman who wakes up one morning and she's a different age, so she keeps living, I don't know if it's a full year in her life or just certain days, in the wrong order. So she'll be like 37 one day, 16 the next, 29 the next, and it's just all over the place. So I'm very excited to read this. I don't know much about the plot outside of that, but I love time travel and like time loops, things like that. So I'm very excited to get into this. This is kind of like exactly the type of light sci-fi that I enjoy. Move forward 5. Contemporary. Then I landed on the prompt contemporary, and for this I'm going to be reading Beautiful World, Where Are You by Sally Rooney, which was her 2021 release. I have read Normal People by Sally Rooney, which I thought was just okay, and then Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney, which I absolutely loved. And so I'm really excited to see where I fall in this new rendition. She writes mostly contemporary, and her other books, I believe, were all set at a college in Dublin during university years, but this book, I think, is friends from college, but like 10 years on or 12 years on or something like that, which I'm really excited to read that point of view because I'm not 10 years out of college, but I'm getting to the point where like I don't see my college friends very often anymore, and so I'm curious to see how this book tackles like relationships when you're not constantly in each other's lives anymore. So I'm very interested in this one. I've heard mixed reviews, but I'm hoping I will enjoy it. Move forward 8. Friend recommendation. Then I landed on the prompt, a friend recommendation, and for this I'm going to be reading The Marriage Plot by Jeffrey Eugenides? I don't know how his name is pronounced. I've read The Virgin Suicides by him years ago. I haven't read it since, I think I was probably in like 9th or 10th grade when I read that book, but I really enjoyed it. I also really enjoy the movie the adaptation of that book. And The Marriage Plot, I think, follows a woman. It starts off when she's in college, and then it follows her for years after college. I believe in college she's an English student who studies books by Jane Austen and George Eliot, and the whole thing of the marriage plot where like most of Jane Austen's books revolve around trying to get the characters married. And so it's about applying that premise to real life. But then I think she also has a love triangle with 2 love interests. I'm really interested to read this. I don't know if I already said. My friend Patience recommended this to me. Patience is one of my friends from college. She's recommended me several books that I've really, really enjoyed. So I'm very excited to pick this one up as well. And I'm hoping that I like it. Move forward to a book with queer rep. Then I landed on the prompt queer rep, or a book that features queer rep. And for this, I went ahead and chose As Far As You'll Take Me by Phil Stamper, which came out, I think, early last year, sometime in like January or February of 2021. And this is another queer contemporary. I think it's also young adult, and it follows a boy, Marty, who is, I think he like has some trouble coming out to his parents or being accepted by his parents, but he's moved to London and he's trying to find, the tagline says, a story about finding the people who become your home. So I think it's going to be about found family and have a lot of the sort of like coming into your own and reconciling your past with who you are. I'm really interested in this one. I think it'll be hard-hitting. I haven't really heard anyone talk about it, which leads me to believe that it either wasn't super hyped on BookTube, which is primarily where I hear about books like this, or that it was like just okay. I think it has a 3.5 rating on Goodreads, so not great, but there is a possibility that I will absolutely love it because it sounds like the type of thing that will really get to me. So I'm really hoping I enjoy that one. Move forward 12. A book by a POC author. For the 8th prompt, I landed on a book by a POC author. And the way I do my author diversity, I have Black authors and then non-Black POC. And I'm thinking I should probably add Indigenous authors to that trio. I'm just considering this right now because I feel like for myself, the most underrepresented authors are probably Indigenous authors. So if I really want to focus on that, that's something that I need to make note of. I might add that to my reading journal now that I'm thinking about it. But anyways, I just wanted to clarify that when I say just POC, it means non-Black POC. But that would be kind of long to write on my board, and I know what it means, so I don't need to add it. So I chose The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. This, again, will be the second book that I'm reading by this author. That's been a theme. A lot of these are like second chances, even though most of the books by the other authors I really did enjoy. So Khaled Hosseini wrote 1,000 Splendid Suns. I think this is his more well-known book, but that's the one that I've read by him, and I really loved that book. I read it back in 2018, I think, or 2017. No, it would have been 2018 or 2019, I guess. But I loved that book. I thought it was fantastic. That's one of the books that got me back into reading. I used to read it on my lunch break when I was at work. But this is, I think, a similar setting. So I believe it's set in Afghanistan around the time, like around the 90s or the 80s, when a bunch of regime changes were happening. And it follows a young boy who is from a wealthy family and then a boy of a servant family, and they become really good friends. And it's just about their life together, their friendship, and how their family relationships impact their relationship with each other. So I'm really excited to read this. I've heard really amazing things. Again, I think my mom and my sisters have read this, and probably everyone else. But yeah, I'm really stoked to finally get around to this one because I've been wanting to read it pretty much since I read 1,000 Splendid Suns. So move forward 3, a book by a new to me author. The next prompt that I landed on was to read a new to me author. And for this, I'm actually going to be reading a thriller author that I heard about from Literary Diversions. She really likes this author, and it's Jane Harper. So this book is The Lost Man. I don't know that much about Jane Harper's backlist, but this I found at a Half Price Books while I was living in Kansas City over the summer, and I just knew I had to buy it. I really like the cover of it, like the orange and blue. I think that's really pretty. But this follows 2 brothers who live in Australia, I believe, and they come across their middle brother dead in the desert, and they're trying to figure out what happened to him and why he died. I think this is a mystery thriller, although that description makes it sound like it could just be literary fiction, but I'm pretty sure that this is a thriller author. So I'm really excited to see how this pans out and what's going on. I guess they have some suspicions that something went wrong. I think maybe his death is ruled a suicide because he knew better than to just walk into the desert without any food or water or rations. So I'm really excited to see what comes of this. I love sibling relationships in books. It's one of the things that I look for when I'm reading something because I have a lot of siblings and I really enjoy reading about people who have siblings. But yeah, I'm really, really excited that I'm going to be picking this one up because I've had it on my shelves for a while and I've been kind of looking for an excuse to read it. Move forward 5. YA. The next prompt that I landed on was to read a YA, and for that I'm choosing Thunderhead by Neil Shusterman, which if you recall, I was supposed to read in December. It is currently December 28th, and I'm like 12 pages into this, 18 pages into this, something like that. I've read like 2 chapters of it. I'm supposed to be buddy reading this with my friends Hugo and Amanda, but I don't think Hugo's planning on getting into it until January, and I think Amanda's already finished it. So I want to catch up so that I can read The Toll in January. So if I do finish this before January, I'll be reading The Toll in January. And I might try to read The Toll anyways, even if I don't finish this before January, I might try to read both in January. We'll see. I have a lot of reading plans, clearly. But this is the second book in the Scythe trilogy. It follows a futuristic world where people no longer die. They're basically immortal. So this group of people called the Scythes are specially trained assassins who glean you sort of based on random things, but we follow 2 Scythe apprentices in the first book, Citra and Rowan, and their journey to being trained to be Scythes. This has a lot of political intrigue, and it's a very interesting, like, dystopian world. And, like, there's a lot of really interesting concepts that come from this. So I'm very excited to be continuing in this series, and I would like to wrap it up sooner rather than later. And now I get to keep drawing until I get 1, 2, or 3 to go home, or backwards 4 would put me back on the board. 10, or backwards 1. So I don't know if you can see this. This says move forward 10 or backwards 1. So I am going to go backwards 1 to Thriller. And that is going to be the last pick of the first round of Sorry for 2022. And the 11th and final prompt that I landed on for this round was Hidden Bodies by Caroline Kepnes. This is the sequel to You by Caroline Kepnes, and it follows Joe Goldberg, who works in a bookstore in New York City, and he becomes obsessed with women and stalks them. Basically, that's the premise, and a lot of dark stuff happens. But what I like about the series is that you're stuck in Joe Goldberg's head. So you're seeing everything from his point of view, and you're rationalizing it through his point of view. And so, not that you're like rooting for him, but like, I feel like as much as you can be rooting for someone who has no redeemable qualities, you are. And I really loved the first book in the series, so I'm very excited to finally pick up the second one. Again, I got this one at Half Price Books as well. So that's it for my Sorry Picks My TBR portion. I did just want to touch on a few other things that I'm planning on reading in January. I'm trying to read The Cosmere currently in publication date order. I'm currently reading the first book of the Stormlight Archives series, which is The Way of Kings. But the next book the next book in publication date order for me after that is Alloy of Law, which is the first book in the second era of the Mistborn series. If you're confused and you don't know anything about Brandon Sanderson, I was confused too until like 6 months ago, so you're totally fine. But I'm planning on finishing Way of Kings in December. I have 5 days left on my library book, or I'm going to have to return it, and then I'm on hold at a bunch of different apps. And the hold is like 12 weeks, so I would really like to finish it. I might have to just go buy it, but if I don't finish it, I'm still planning on finishing it in January and picking up Alloy of Law. So I might not get to it, but those are my like Brandon Sanderson plans for the month of January. But that's going to be it for this TBR video. I feel like this was incredibly long, so thank you for sticking through it. If you did, let me know in the comments down below if you've read any of these books and how you felt about them. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel because I do post 2 videos every single week, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!